Busy day in Canberra, not just about The Voice, plenty of other things too. Let's get straight into it. Joining me now, Michael McLaren, host of Weekends on 2GB, and Sophie Ellsworth, media writer at The Australian. Both of you, Michael, Sophie, welcome. I'll get into the legal detail of The Voice with Chris Merritt a little bit later in the show, but the big announcement's been made. Some of the things people should be across. The actual legislation will be introduced into the Parliament next Thursday in the form of the Constitution Alteration Bill. There's hopes it'll pass through the Parliament by June. Of course, I expect there'll be a Senate, if not House, committee on this, and a referendum to be held, we're told, between October and December. Michael, PM's clearly staking his job on it, isn't he?
Yes, Peter, it seems to be. Look, whether it passes or not may not determine whether he remains Prime Minister going into the next election. Things like this can happen. But I tell you what, long term will be the big test here. And this, I think, is, as you said earlier, setting the nation up for something very, very troublesome when you have, sure, the Parliament it retains the authority as the legal body of the land. But, gee, to be a brave government, a brave executive that took on board the advice of The Voice and then chose to ignore it once, twice or three times or more. I can't see that happening. So this is where the public need to focus.
If there was nothing to see here, Sophie, and I say this as someone with 20 years' experience in government, if there was nothing to see here, it would be a fair fight, it would be equally funded, we would have the detail and we'd have this legal advice. The mere fact that that's not there on the table and this question looks and sounds benign, as the Prime Minister says, it's just good manners, bells the cat, sends the alarms going for me, certainly. What about you?
Absolutely, Peter, and I think this has potential to really be a lawyer's picnic. They must just be rubbing their hands together thinking we're going to be inundated with work if this is legislated, and I think it should raise a lot of concerns for Australians. I feel that a lot of Australians are really being guilted into the whole vibe of The Voice. If you don't go along with the vibe, this is a good thing for Australians, you're a bad person. It seems to be that we're being treated as if you're a bad person if you're not going to vote yes here. So I don't think that's a good strategy at all. And I think the yes vote is in a bit of trouble because a lot of people still don't really understand the ramifications for what this will be if it is legislated.
Sophie makes a point there, and I'll say this to my viewers at home, in relation to the lawyers' picnic. I'll make this point. The Voice lawyers, if it gets up, will be paid for by the taxpayer, as the government's lawyers will be defending their position that they did or did not take enough notice of the Voice advice. It'll be played out in the High Court, the most expensive court to take any action on in Australia. It'll be QC's, the score of either side, and you will pay for both sides of the legal action.